Hello, today we're going to be going over the Lunatic-Hai and Kongdoo Panthera match. So obviously, spoilers, if you haven't watched the match, go ahead and watch it before watching this video. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of VODs recently, maybe like 50 in the past week and a half. And I've noticed kind of a trend of mistakes that players make, particularly from Gold to Masters. I think those are the majority of my videos. And I picked out 3 things that I want to talk about from this match. That is stealth tactics, flanking, and creating space. And I think I want to use these clips to kind of highlight the way the pros do it, and then hopefully, you know, solo queuers out there and duo queuers, whatever, can elevate their gameplay by kind of seeing, again, how the pros do it. So let's start with stealth tactics. So I'm going to let this clip run, and then we'll discuss it afterwards.
You hold this point.
And also now getting the control of all of these flanks that Lunatic has an opportunity to get to is Giddo. He's going to jump in. It's a decent Bionic field, but Esker's going to be able to take him down. And look at this. The kill's just streaming in for Lunatic-Hai. Yeah,
so they, if I'm not mistaken, they just clean up the rest of this fight. You can see kind of just like what the element of surprise does there. And I was kind of surprised when I saw how few players utilized their crouch, you know, take time to set up sneaky plays. And it doesn't just have to be like Genjis and Tracers. You know, it can be like a Reinhardt standing behind, you know, a corner and going for like a sneaky Earthshatter or something like that. So I'd like players to start thinking a little bit more about how to set up these plays, use crouch, and more importantly, be patient. You know, these high-level matches, there's times where the game feels so fast-paced, but then people don't kind of think about the times where actually the players take a really long time to set up a play. Which we'll look at right now. So we're gonna go to a new clip. So this Tracer,
now you have your transcendence.
so she actually walks like all the way from the other side of the room to this side, just, you know, going very slowly. And unfortunately, she doesn't really. This Tracer doesn't have a really good opportunity. There was nobody in that area. You know, that's gonna happen sometimes. Goes for a pulse bomb. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. But still, you can see that, you know, these professional players and teams, they will take the time to set up a play properly. And in solo queue, you almost never see that. And it really just takes one person to do that. And it's really easy as a Genji or a Tracer, right? Like if your team just all died, you know, that gives you a lot of time to go set up a play behind your opponents. And trust me, there are tons of flanking routes. Based on the VODs that I've seen, there are tons of flanking routes that people will just leave open in solo queue. So if you are patient and you take the time to get there, wait for your team to come back as a 5-man or a 4-man, whatever. Then, you know, when they go, you go. You try to get like a really sneaky kill, like the previous clip we saw with the Genji on the soldier. And you can even see on that clip that the kill wasn't even that clean, right? Like he missed some shurikens, messed up his combo a little bit, and that kill took a while. But the element of surprise was enough to turn that non-kill into a kill. Okay, cool. Now there is kind of an opposite side of this. So I want players to also be focusing on checking corners. So I just picked a small clip here just to show that, you know, even pros, they will use their camera to turn around and look for corners and whatnot. So please, please, please check your corners. That'll help against the stealth tactics, right? So 2 sides of that coin. Okay. Flanking, that's the next one. So let's talk about flanking. I was also shocked with how little people flank, especially the Genjis and Tracers. So I like to think of flanking in 2 ways. There's soft flanking and hard flanking. Soft flanking, soldiers, McCrees, Roadhogs, Zenyatas even. I'm a Zenyatta main, and I like to soft flank whenever possible. Soft flanking is when you go for high ground, when you go for the sides of your opponent, and you're not looking to get like super deep. You're not looking to get behind them. You're just looking to see if you can get a kill from the side, high ground when possible. Then there's hard flanking, like, you know, Genjis and Tracers. They can get deep behind their opponents. They force their opponents to turn around, do 180s, and you know, and that's obviously the best kind of flanking, but not everyone can do that. So, cool. So in this particular clip, I want to talk about also flanking when you're on the defense. I see a lot of teams, scrims, solo queue, professional matches where teams are really hesitant to flank on the defense. And it's understandable. If you mess it up, you can turn that a 6v6 into a 5v6. But at the very least, I'd like teams to contest their flanks more. And that's actually what Tracer does in this video. She's going to contest this flank on this side of the map. And when she realizes no one's there, then she just goes in and gets a really sick pulse bomb. So let's let this play.
Ryujahong has been an issue. His Zenyatta especially.
So no one's here. Okay, cool. Free kill.
There's the pulse bomb gonna really weaken that mech.
Yeah, so free kill there. I believe Lunatic-Hai cleans this up. And you know, if there is someone there, then at the very least, Tracer can say, okay, team, there's someone on this side. Watch out for this person's flank. Because if you don't do that, then we're going to see what happens in this next clip.
Control of this high ground.
Okay, he's going to go for the flank here from behind. This could be amazing. He finds Eska.
Oh,
takes out
Helix
Toby.
rocket onto Toby. It's going to be able to grab him the kill. TacVisor in here now. There's okay, a very big monkey with.
So he does die, but let's look at what Soldier did. He killed Lucio. He got Tracer down to, I think, less than half, because then I think Winston cleaned up that Tracer. And then he absorbed a lot of this nano boost. So a ton of resources were given up due to this flank. And if I'm not mistaken, Kongdoo Panthera actually does clean this up like a minute and 15 seconds later. Like the fight lasted forever. But, you know, off the back of this flank, they were able to get the point. So flanking is so important. And even if you're not confident in your flanking skills, at least contest a flank path. Like, just be there, maybe at a safe distance, just to know if someone's coming there. That should be like the bare minimum. Okay, so solo queuers out there, please flank more. Okay, and especially if you are a Genji or a Tracer. Yes, and for everyone else, like soldiers, McCrees, Roadhogs, Zenyatas, you know, do it more often, please. Okay, creating space. So that's going to be the last one. So right here,
Genji. So this
you'll notice that on red side just now, that Winston.
Atlas.
Yeah, well, at the moment, he's not going to be on the Tracer. He's now going to be the resident.
So right here on red side, they actually just kind of stay here.
Genji. So this is the real test.
And then on blue side, they go into this like courtyard area.
Can Guido be better than who are you?
So already they've got the positional advantage here. So kudos to this Winston Miro. And you know, Genji and Tracer follow up, and they've kind of won the positional advantage. Like they've created, there's kind of this like zone outside here that red side, Kongdoo Panthera, are afraid to go towards. And if you watch the rest of this particular clip, you'll see that actually Lunatic-Hai makes a really critical mistake. They're Genji and Tracer, and the whole team just kind of bunches up on the point. And then like Jaehong gets booped off, and then the Genji dies. So in my opinion, Lunatic-Hai, they won this, but then they kind of threw it later. We won't go into that, but that's kind of more of a point about why flanking is so important. If you just kind of bunch up as a team, especially with a comp like this, that's just not as good as, you know, flanking and getting deeper, getting behind your opponents, or at the very least just spreading out more, right? So anyways, we won't go into that, but here, at least at this point in the match, Lunatic-Hai did a really good job of creating space, and they utilized it like at this point, but then they kind of threw it away later. Okay, so, and one more thing, when your tanks are creating space for you, make sure you use it, right? There's no worse feeling as a tank when you're creating space for your team and your team's not using it, you know, either to do damage or, again, to get a flanking route that would have otherwise been risky to get at that time. So very important. And another thing, DPS players, you can create your own space, right? As a Zenyatta player, Discord is one of my favorite ways to create space. I can get a Discord on a Genji or a Tracer from far away, and then if they don't respect that, if they don't respect that Discord, then, you know, I'm more likely to get a headshot. If they're just gonna like use blinks or swift strikes to get to me, then I'm more likely to win that fight. So usually, you know, Discord's a nice way to create my own space, and everyone has tools to create space for themselves, at least for, you know, a certain amount of time. Okay, let's go on to the last clip. So it starts off with a really good boop by Kongdoo Panthera's Pharah.
It's going to be on the Pharah, so this Eska soldier is going to be very important. Or the concussive block.
Cool. So they get a boop, and they actually get like a kill on the soldier. Right there. So it's a 6v4, right? So you'd think, oh, great, Kongdoo Panthera, they won. So in this sense, they've kind of created space for themselves just because they won the fight. I mean, winning a fight, you basically get your pick of how you want to set up your defense.
Answered here, at least with this first.
So now what we're gonna see is how they mess it up. So, okay, so right here, actually, first I'll just let this play and then I'll talk.
With a few more rockets coming in, looking for that ult charge as Guido looks
so
to
the point hasn't unlocked yet.
He's not building any ult charge if he's just waiting there for so incredibly long. Has to recall.
So that Tracer did such a brilliant thing. So all she was looking to do, or he was looking to do, was just contest the point for his team to come back. So even though it was a 6v4, respawns were coming. All this Tracer had to do was, you know, going back to the earlier point, was kind of be stealthy and then go in just to contest the point. And actually, Lunatic-Hai does bring this back, and they do win this. And the key takeaway here is that Kongdoo Panthera had all this space to work with, and they just clumped up into a spot and then just gave up the point. What they should have done was contest this area where this Tracer was at, spread out more, you know, just basically spread out more. Like, at the very least, just do that. Like, you know, they could have set up in a numerous amount of ways, and they just chose to clump.
Quite quickly, but is able to get around the side as Lunatic-Hai try and coordinate this response. It's a nice biotic field, though, denying so much of that damage.
Makes me really sad. So yeah, if you watch the rest of this clip, you'll see that Lunatic-Hai, in fact, I'll just run this while I talk. Yeah, Lunatic-Hai brings this back from a 6v4. They had the Tracer doing like a really smart thing by just waiting there, not moving. Yeah, so you can see they get the point here. And I think they hold it for a while. I think maybe I think it was like almost to 60% or something like that. So really good job for Lunatic-Hai to bring that back. But really, we want to knock points against Kongdoo Panthera for, again, not setting up a proper defense when they had space to do that. Cool, so that's pretty much the end of this video. Just to kind of humanize this a little bit more, and to make you solo queuers feel better, we're going to show 2 mistakes that that some of these players, these professional players, made.
Walker's gonna get destroyed immediately. Oh no, Eska just kills himself.
Pulse bomb self-kill, classic. And then one more. This one's my favorite.
His Transcendence is actually thrown in from Luffy. Guido,
oh,
he's gonna
there's
take down
Jaehong,
immediately,
and
though.
There he goes.
And he just used his Dragon Blade.
So, cool. I hope this video was helpful. And good luck in solo queue.